Tottenham Hotspur nearly got relegated. Not once, twice. Back to back. 2 seasons ending one place above the trapdoor. 2 years where Spurs were closer to the Championship than the Champions League. And then the summer transfer window opened. First came Van Hecke from Brighton, £52 million. Then Robertson, one of the best left backs of his generation, arrived on a free from Liverpool. Then Mateus Fernandes from West Ham in a reported £85 million deal. Then, one day after breaking their transfer record, Spurs broke it again for Sandro Tonali. £100 million from Newcastle, one of the standout midfielders in the Premier League last season. Total headline fees committed this summer, £237 million. Let that number sit for a second. £237 million. From a club that finished 17th, in a league where Newcastle's financial constraints made a £100 sale extremely difficult to turn down, where Aston Villa are being squeezed by European financial rules despite having one of the most exciting squads in England. Gabby Agbonlahor said it himself on TalkSport. Villa can't spend, Newcastle can't spend, and Tottenham, who nearly went down, somehow can. So how? How are Tottenham allowed to do this? The answer is going to make you see modern football completely differently. Before we get to the answer, let's deal with the thing that most people say first. FFP, financial fair play, the rules, the regulations that are supposed to stop clubs spending money that they don't have. Here is what those rules actually do. They don't care about how bad your football was. They care about how strong your finances are. The Premier League is moving from the old PSR system, profit and sustainability rules, to a new framework called the squad cost ratio from next season. In plain English, your squad spending has to fit inside a percentage of your football-related revenue. UEFA has its own stricter version for European clubs, a 70% ceiling on squad costs. Both systems ask the same fundamental question. How much of what you earn are you spending on the squad? If you earn a lot, you can spend a lot. If you earn less, even if your owner is the richest person on the planet, you spend less. The rules don't punish bad football. They punish bad finances. And here's the thing about Tottenham. Their football has been genuinely terrible, but their finances are a completely different story. In their last financial year, Tottenham reported £565 million in total revenue and other income. £565 million. Do a lot rank them ninth in world football for revenue, behind Arsenal, but ahead of Chelsea. A club that finished 17th was still generating more money than a Champions League level club. So how does a club that finished 17th generate £500 million a year? Because Tottenham are not just a football club. They are a stadium business that happens to have a football team in it. The commercial machine around the stadium, sponsorship, merchandising, events, visitor attractions, conferences, and matchday activity, they helped push commercial and other income to £277 million. Their match receipts hit £126 million. Their TV money was £127 million. The biggest revenue stream at Tottenham is not the Premier League television deal that every club gets. It is everything that happens around the stadium. The NFL games, the concerts, the visitor experiences, the conferences. They generate income every day of the week, not just on match days. Spurs were awful at football, but as a business, they were elite. Which brings us to the man who built it, and the fact that Spurs fans spent years trying to get rid of him. Daniel Levy ran Tottenham Hotspur for 25 years. In that time, he built a £1 billion stadium, he grew commercial revenue to levels most Premier League clubs could only dream of, and he kept Spurs' wage costs at roughly 45% of turnover, well below the levels that get clubs into trouble. He also frustrated almost everyone he ever worked with. Mourinho, Pochettino, Conte, some of the best managers in world football. All of them, at various points, struggling to get the investment they felt the club needed. Fans protested. Banners went up. The argument for years was simple. Levy was running Tottenham like a business when fans wanted him to run it like a football club. He left in September 2025. The new regime came in and the handbrake was off. And here is the beautiful, painful irony. The £237 million being spent this summer, it's being spent because of the platform that Levy built. The low wage base that created spending headroom, Levies. The stadium that anchors the commercial operation, Levies. The financial discipline that kept Spurs within the rules while rivals stretched, Levies. Fans wanted him gone because he would not spend. The new Spurs can spend precisely because of what he built. The man they wanted out may be the reason this summer is even possible. So, if the rules reward revenue, why can't Newcastle just spend the same way? Their owners are richer than Spurs owners, significantly richer. The Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia manages over $600 billion. But here's the thing that the rules make absolutely clear. Owner wealth is not the same as club revenue. The rules do not care what sits in Riyadh. They care about what the club earns. And Newcastle's recognised club revenue, despite record turnover of £335 million, is still significantly smaller than Tottenham's commercial and matchday machine. Newcastle are also navigating UEFA financial restrictions that limit their European spending flexibility. Their financial constraints made a £100 million sale for Tonali seem extremely difficult to turn down, regardless of how much they wanted to keep him. And then there's Aston Villa. Villa have one of the most exciting squads in English football. They've grown their revenue faster than almost any club in the country. They've finished in the Champions League places. And UEFA fined them for squad cost breaches because their squad spending grew faster than their revenue base could support under European rules. The same rules that are barely touching Tottenham right now. Newcastle have richer owners. Villa have better recent football. But under this system, Spurs have more recognised revenue, lower historical wage costs, and a commercial operation that the rulebook rewards. That is not cheating. That is not corruption. That is the system rewarding what Spurs built, while making it brutally hard for anyone trying to catch up. So, is this fair? Here's the case for Tottenham. They built a £1 billion stadium, they kept their wages controlled for years, and they operated within the rules even when it frustrated everybody around them. That discipline created the headroom that's now being used. If the system rewards revenue and financial restraint, Spurs have earned this. And here is the other argument. The clubs that already had massive revenue before the financial rules hardened now have a permanent structural advantage. Villa and Newcastle are being punished for trying to catch up, for trying to do exactly what the established elite did for years before the rules hardened. The new rules may be more transparent than the old FFP system, but they can also lock in the hierarchy that already exists. High revenue clubs get more room to spend, always. Whether that feels like a fair system or a very expensive way to protect the old order, that is the argument football is about to have. And I'm not going to settle it for you, because here is what I will tell you instead. Tottenham are not safe, not even close. £237 million in headline fees sounds like a statement, but here is how football accounting actually works. Transfer fees are not charged to the accounts in one hit. They're spread, amortised, over the length of a player's contract, which was later changed to a maximum of 5 years. So, Tonali's reported £92.5 million initial fee, over 5 years, hits the books at roughly £18.5 million a year. Not 92 million, 18. That is how clubs can spend big without immediately blowing through their financial limits. But the wages, those hit every single year. Tonali is reported to earn up to £275,000 per week, with conditions attached to Champions League qualification. Now, add Fernandes, add Van Hecke, add Robertson, and add Senesi. These are fixed annual costs. They do not go away if the football goes wrong again. And if Spurs miss Europe, there's no European prize money, lower merit payments, fewer high-value fixtures, and the same fixed wage commitments. The same structure that looks manageable today becomes a serious problem tomorrow. Spurs also carry £831 million of net debt. The stadium was not free. It was leveraged bet on future revenue. And so far, that bet has paid off. But the margin for error is smaller than it looks. Spurs have spent £237 million on the argument that De Zerbi can turn this around quickly, that the football will match the business. If it does, this summer looks like genius. If it doesn't, Tottenham have not escaped the rulebook. They have bought themselves a much more expensive bet inside it. Tottenham are the strangest club in English football right now. A relegation level team on the pitch, a Champions League level business off it. That is why they can spend £237 million, while Newcastle's financial constraints force difficult decisions and Villa get fined by UEFA. It's not a loophole. It's not corruption. It's a system that rewards revenue, and Tottenham have more of it than their recent football deserves. The question is whether that is a well-designed financial system, or whether it's just a very expensive way to make sure that the rich clubs stay rich. If this changed the way that you see why some clubs can spend and others can't, smash that like button. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps the channel grow. Subscribe to Sports Cash Files. Every week we look into the money behind the sport. And drop it in the comments below. Is this fair? Did Levy build an unfair advantage, or did he just build what Villa and Newcastle need right now? Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.